little bit about our technology selection. So it's divided up into 5 different phases, starting with alignment. Then we narrow it down to, in the qualification phase, to around a long list of, say, 6 to 8 vendors. And then throughout this process, it gets narrowed down to eventually who our client's chosen ERP vendor is, or not necessarily ERP, but whatever technology selection project we're working on at the time. So with that being said, Shannon, do you want to give us a brief overview of where you are in the process, what's going on, and how you're taking care of it on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, sure. Right now we're in the process of doing a selection with one of our customers, and it was kind of a pivotal moment where we decided with the team, is this something that we needed to put off, or can we go through with a selection remotely? Ultimately, we decided that we had all the tools in place that we could do that. And then with Ultra being so confident working remotely, we were able to instill that confidence into them as well. So this client right now, they're high-mix, high-volume manufacturing, Windows balances, and hardware accessories. They are multi-site, so 6 in the U.S., 2 international sites. So definitely not as big as Kyle's project, but still a pretty decently sized company. The tools that we decided to use going in were Zoom, SharePoint. We realized about halfway through that we needed to use Google Hangouts and then leverage Microsoft Teams more. Zoom was decided on because that is what the client was comfortable with using. So we went with that just to make sure that they were comfortable. So as we went through the project, there were some things that we knew we had to do remote versus, in person. I know Danielle asked a little bit earlier, what are some of the things that are harder to do remote versus in person? So the first one was vendor qualification. So what we did was we had remote meetings. It was 2 hours per software vendor. At that point, we had a long list of vendors. So we ended up having about 12 hours total. So there were 6 vendors on the list, 2 hours per vendor. So 12 hours of work, and that was with the process owners. So everyone on the team that owned their different work stream, they were included in those meetings. So we did all of those remotely, and we did score them, and we scored them virtually using spreadsheets. Based on that, we did reduce down to a short list of 3 vendors. That was where we kind of had to make the decision that we really could not do a discovery remotely. So the point of the discovery, right, is to have the vendor get really accustomed to who the customer is, what they do on a day-to-day basis, and what's important to them. So we decided we needed to do that in person. So we had an in-person discovery day, 1 day per software vendor. So
and that
3 days total.
That was really prior to everyone being on stay-at-home orders, correct?
Correct. That was about literally a week before the shelter-in-place orders. So luckily, we were able to do that in person, and I would say that's probably one thing that would be hard to do remotely. I'm sure it would be possible, but it would have to be very structured. So as we went into functional demos, we were able to do remote demos. I would say the biggest thing is to have a structured agenda. So what we did was we had about 40 attendees on each of these demos, which was a lot for 8 hours. And it was 6 days total of this. So 6 8-hour days of demos was a lot. The biggest thing is to stick to your agenda. So we had at the beginning time set out for the vendor to practice with the technology. So before you start your day, practice using Zoom, practice logging in, sharing screens and all that, and then schedule breaks throughout your day. So also stick to the agenda, right? Everyone's at home, they've got their kids, they're probably multitasking. You don't want to make rash decisions throughout the day and change it around. You want to stick to it. If there's things that you weren't able to cover during that time, definitely make a parking lot list and schedule a follow-up meeting. But absolutely stick to the agenda and make sure it's as detailed as possible.
So, like you said, sticking to the agenda is super important, but there's 40 people that have questions that probably are coming out throughout the day. How are you guys capturing all the questions from everyone and making sure you were getting answers without completely derailing the agenda? Yeah, exactly. So a lot of times what we had to do was pause pretty often for questions. And what we did was after each of the sections you can see on the agenda there, we would pause and make sure that everybody had all of their scoring for that section completed. If they didn't have a scoring line completed, then they should speak up and ask that question. Another thing is a lot of people maybe don't feel comfortable with 40 folks on the phone speaking up and asking a question. So we did leverage some of the chat capabilities that people could submit questions through there as well. All right, so I think we talked about most of these things, but I think one of the key bullet points on here is around that okay to interrupt. especially with these demos, if people aren't following.
Exactly. I think that last bullet on there, okay to interrupt, was definitely the hardest culture shift for the team going into remote demonstrations. You can't feel like you're being lectured at and that you have to wait till the end of the day before you can ask questions. You need to immediately let the team know. So when you start in the morning at 8 a.m., say, hey guys, it's okay to interrupt. Please interrupt us at any time. Make that known, because it's really important if you're not understanding something that you speak up and that you just cut off whoever's presenting. So that was hard to get used to, but as we went along, the team got really, really good at doing that, so it helped.
Talk to me a little bit about the digital scorecards. So our scorecards are a big part of these detailed demos, capturing gaps, or really we try to use as many facts when helping our client make a decision of their preferred vendor, such as scoring. So how do the digital scorecards work? Were people able to watch the video as well as fill out the scorecards? Yeah,
so definitely I've suggested everyone do is use their Excel sheets and follow along on their scorecards and score while the demo was going on. We did have each of them recorded, so every section was recorded separately, which was nice because they were posted in SharePoint after. So if you missed a section, you could go back. But it was really important that the team tried to score as they went. As you can see in the one picture, that would be a split screen example. So what a lot of the folks were doing on the call was splitting their screen. One screen was their scorecard and one screen was the demonstration. If you have multiple monitors, that would also be really helpful as well. So they were able to easily follow along down the scorecard and also watch the demonstration as it was going on with no need to print out anything.